Welcome to our first live. We have a 12-week mini course that I'm going to do. I have built this neuroscience backed framework for NeuroHumanity, and I'm really excited to be able to get people educated and involved in this amazing philosophy that allows us to let go of all of our shame and guilt and be able to live in our true selves no matter where we are in our garden. And so, this 12-week course is really going to look at if we're living above or beneath the soil. And spoiler alert, we do need to go beneath the soil, not because it's wrong or that we are failing, but because it's not hierarchical. It's important for us to know that the only goal is to be present and let life present. And sometimes we're in the tar pit of our minds. Sometimes we're struggling with the language of discipline in the bedrock. Sometimes we're just trying to create meaning, and all we have is self-doubt in our quicksand of our mind. And sometimes we are above the soil. We're tending our garden. We have infestations we are managing, the seasons that will come and go. We will have moments where we want to sell our produce at the fruit stand, and none of the places are wrong. It's important for us to radically accept that there is no euphoria in earth or on earth. And so it doesn't matter where you are, it matters that you're present. And then what we learn with the Beneath the Soil, which is this 12-week class, is owning where we are, finding that space of truth so that when we own that space, we know exactly what we want to do, and we have a very meaningful connection to that space. And so the 12 weeks is going to go through a lot of what that neuroscience backed framework is, which is NeuroHumanity. And we're going to start today with being able to understand kind of one of the key principles of all of this, and that is coming from somatic therapy, which says we really need to be present and safe before we can start getting into strategy or taking action. And so I want us to just take a moment. All of this is going to be recorded, so you take your time, pause where you need to. Just take a deep breath and notice where you're at. When I talk about mindfulness, do you see how my body kind of changes? I sit up a little straighter. My, my hand goes to my chest and my stomach. My feet go flat on the floor. My jaw starts to relax. My shoulders start to relax. This didn't always happen. It happened because I created motor memory to allow it to happen. And so that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to start with little micro steps. You won't do this perfectly. The point is not to be perfect, it's to be present. But as we take that sense of presence, we put our hand on our chest, we unclench that jaw. So much trauma lives in our jaw. We drop our shoulders. You can even pull them up to your ears. Exhale and drop them. Hand on chest. Deep breath in. This isn't about perfection. It's not even about performance. This is a space to reset every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're just resetting. We're just connecting our mind to our body. And take that slow breath. Go long inhale and exhale. Tonight is going to be simple. We're only talking about one thing. One more big inhale. And exhale. We're just talking about the difference between failing and surviving. During this time, we're going to realize that stress creates a dissonance, a phobia between the mind and body. And so, as we look at this 12-week Below the Soil series, we're not going to fix behaviors. We're not optimizing productivity. I'm not selling you success. You already own it. I have a whole article on you can't buy motivation. So I'm not going to sell it. I'm here because this means everything to me. This is my mission in life. And over the last 3 years, I've had such a beautiful experience of watching all of these concepts unfold. And as I would get wisdom, I would see it play out in all of my sessions and working with my clients. And together we would collaborate on kind of understanding, finding awareness, acceptance, action, and of what is happening and what are the key words and how do we want to name these so that we let go of the shame and guilt. And we find a sense of presence and understanding. That sense of being seen, we're going to realize is such a powerful tool. And a part of all this has created a remission rate of 1 to 3 sessions, which is a massive feat. It says that people can come in my clinical practice with a high level of anxiety or depression. So they're very, very nervous. They're very, very depressed. There's helplessness and hopelessness in both. And in 1 to 3 sessions, they find hope. They find agency. They realize that they're being seen and heard. They belong to something greater than themselves. And that makes them feel safe. Those 5 universal constructs I talk about a lot. We're going to see all of that in this 12-week program. And I can't wait for us to get started. Because the truth is we're trying to understand what's underneath. Because when cortisol takes over, when bad brain starts to work, when the amygdala starts to run and scan and try to find its reactions, we're running on a survival system. We're not rising up to tend our garden. We're burrowing. We're getting pulled down underneath the soil because perceived control is the first defense in all of our survival. It just keeps pulling us further and further into the tar pit of our mind. And we've been buried long enough. And you'll call it failure. You're going to call it as if you're not dedicated, you're not disciplined, you're not showing up for yourself, you're not capable, you're not valued. And we're going to interrupt that right now, tonight, and every Tuesday night for the next 12 weeks. And so the first thing I want us to do is learn about what survival actually feels like. Because it doesn't look dramatic. It's not the Geico commercial where they're all sitting in front of the running car with every apparatus to defend themselves behind them. And they choose to run in the house and go upstairs and say, I'm helpless. Survival are these micro things that we're doing. It's slowly reducing ourselves. It's seeing that we're exhausted before we ever began. That we'll procrastinate even though we know we want to do it. It's like, maybe I'll go do this over here instead. It's knowing that we can do it and yet we're frozen, deer in headlights. This feeling of numbness, like I don't even really care anymore. Like, what's the point? That one comes up a lot. And it's being really judgmental and brutal. The inner dialogue that you have is just relentless. And you don't really know how to get out of that negative dialogue. These aren't character failures. You're not doing anything wrong. It's cortisol. And when cortisol stays in your body long enough, the brain prioritizes that safety over growth and expansion. It'll choose predictability over possibility every single time. And even though it's predictable, it still really hurts. We're literally trauma bonding with ourselves. I'm creating reinforced feedback loops of stress and despair. And we're breaking all of that right now. Because this is the deal. We're in the bedrock of our minds. Sometimes we're in the tar pit. Sometimes we're in the bedrock. If we're lucky, we're just doubting ourselves in the quicksand. Man, some days I wish I could just be in the quicksand of my own mind. That feels so wonderful. I just have to worry about a bunch of external validators and start to find my inner value. But usually that perceived control is pulling us further and further down. We're going to learn these terms as we grow over the next 12 weeks. But today is about safety. Today is about reset. Today is about creating the motor memory that we can keep returning to. And these motor memories is going to be looking at our inner garden. And at the surface is behavior and goals, habits and productivity. Below the soil are our beliefs, our attachment patterns, and old agreements. These narratives that we've been holding on to for our lives. And sentences of these narratives look like, I can't. It won't last long. Something bad always follows something good. That next shoe is going to drop. I always mess this up. And when you're operating from the bedrock, the effort feels really pointless because the narrative has already decided the outcome. And this is why we can't push through and just become more dedicated to get to tending our garden. We must be present where we are in the here and now. And being present in the here and now and where we are, we can then choose what we want to do with it. Because you can't shame your nervous system into safety, and you can't force growth out of survival. And so one of the things we want to do when we're in the bedrock is we're going to burrow. And next month, I can't wait. So stay tuned. If you're already a subscriber, April is where it's at. We're doing all about safety and grounding. Actually, it's the 4 key principles of lasting change is this month. So if you haven't started that, you can go back. There's no wrong place to start. It's all about being present and allowing life to present. So wherever you go, wherever life takes you, just kind of get curious and open a door and just see what it does. My whole model on Substack is to offer you those 13 chances to engage with something because that's what adult learning needs. It needs 13 times to be engaged with before it actually lands. So I give you that in a variety of ways through quarterly themes, monthly themes, and then weekly we break it down into our challenge, our cultivating mental blooms, Emma's intervention lab. I do kind of a Thursday lessons learned on how to apply this to a population. And then the 5 for Fridays, how do we see this show up in our everyday lives? And in our Cultivating Mental Blooms next month in April, um, we're going to look at the burrowing. We're really going to get into this bedrock. Because here's the deal. We can stick our head in the sand like an ostrich, but we can also become a fox or a little bunny. And we can actually build a life and a home and a den in this bedrock. And the whole point is notice where you're at, name it. I'm in the tar pit of my mind. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. I'm in the bedrock. I'm in this language of discipline. Emma's going to talk about this tomorrow, actually. She's going to go through this language of discipline. So definitely check that out. This idea of binging and restricting, these quick narratives that we have that says, I'm successful or I'm a failure. And here's the checklist of the things that we do. We all do this. One of the most common language of discipline narratives we have is it's a school night. We all genuinely know what it looks like to be successful on a school night and the things that we are restricting because it will not serve us to be successful on that school night. And that's what it looks like. And while we are here, our body is not feeling safe and it's becoming performative and it's regressing to old narratives that we have learned along the way. And so what I want us to do right now is kind of a guided meditation, really a guided awareness, if you will, so that we can start replacing push with curiosity. And so I want you to take a moment to just be present and let life present. Do another body scan. Take a big, deep breath in. Feet on the floor. Round. If you're sitting, get your back on the back of the chair. And take this moment to really find your sense of presence. And what are you noticing as you hear this bedrock and this language of discipline? You able to be present with it? Are there things that you reject about it? Notice the sensations in your body. It's important to see this because as it comes up, your body's going to tell you things way before your mind does. Your body has made actions and reactions 100 yards down the road well before your mind and your conscious mind can even know that it's there and be like, what am I doing? So take that time. Just a big deep breath. Feel where the tension is and slowly gather it as you inhale and release it as you exhale. And as we're doing that, we're really replacing this idea to perform with this idea of presence and this curious mind. Because when survival is running the system, the massive action will backfire. You will burn out because at some point in time, these restrictive behaviors, these things that you're doing in an effort to create perceived control, it's creating chaos in the wake. And you will just bounce up against all that chaos. And eventually you'll just put your hands up and say, what's the point? I have no willpower. I can't believe I thought I could do this. I knew I would fail. We do this with sleeping habits. We're going to go to bed at 10 o'clock. This is the time. I'm not going to sit there and binge all night long. We do this with our New Year's resolutions. Dry January. I'm doing this. I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm going to the gym. And what happens is we set such clear and rigid goals that we have no ability to be successful with it. So we replace push with curiosity because that's what's paramount in our ability to build lasting change. Because curiosity doesn't say all or nothing. Curiosity now introduces nuances into our bedrock. And as we are present and letting life present, we're building that den. And that den is full of curiosity, saying, what happens if I try this gently? What happens if I create space for this? What feels stabilizing instead of impressive? What if I showed up for myself and not life? What if I didn't share this with anybody and I just had this for myself? The curiosity moves you to a scientific mindset so that you're not performing anymore. You're not proving anything to anybody. And then you're not collapsing into burnout. It's just observing, it's noticing, it's taking very small steps, looking at a bigger equation and knowing that you only want to move one integer. Because if you move them all, you have no idea what works. And so you just move one small integer independently to find what exactly creates safety for you. So think about that. Look at your own routine. Emma did a great intervention lab a couple of weeks as we started our internal compass, and she looked at our rituals and kind of how the rituals really said what our priorities were. Then we looked at what wasn't serving us and we started to let them go. Those are those small changes because change is built from performance collapses. And change built from presence compounds. And as we're in this reflection of kind of how our rituals and our routines are happening and what are one small change that we can commit to today, just one small change to commit to today, I want you to consider this. What is the center and the sentence around your resistance? When you hear that you need to make one small change, it's waking up 5 minutes earlier. That's adding in 5 minutes of devotion or journaling or reflection amongst the day. That's creating a space where we're removing black light or blue lights from our evening routine. This one thing, one small change, and we're not saying you have to do this at this time. We're just saying be present and notice. Because when we can let go, we can then intentionally fill ourselves with things that serve us greater than what we were holding on to for avoidance. And if you're comfortable with that, you can share that and put comments in the video. Or just notice it privately. And what is the bedrock sentence? What is the all or nothing that you are pulling from that keeps you stuck in the bedrock of your mind? Know that that is a place to own. That that is a place to be present with. Because when we go beneath the soil, there are no nuances. But when we can be present and let life present, what we're offering ourselves is a sense of safety and predictability, awareness, acceptance, action. We start to notice I'm clenching my jaw. My body is not safe. Oh, my shoulders are in my ears. My body is not safe. No judgment. This is what NeuroHumanity is. NeuroHumanity says that because of neuroplasticity, neuroscience, the human mind is incredibly predictable. The things we do is incredibly predictable. And I have a whole negative dynamic of exactly what we go through, every behavior we go through. There are 13 points on that negative dynamic, and we all show up at some point in time there. And so we let go of the shame and guilt. We're just in a survival state. We take time to notice and we label. And the beauty of being above or beneath the soil, knowing there's no hierarchy, there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. We get to choose to be present where we are because now we have value. Now we have agency. Now we belong. We know exactly where we're at. It'll allow us to create a sense of being seen and heard between our mind and body, reconnect, and that'll give us a sense of safety. And that may pull us above the soil. There's a lot of work we need to do beneath the soil. So being present there is not a bad thing. Because when we're in the tar pit, we create containment. When we're in the bedrock, we build our den and burrow and start nourishing our roots. When we're in the quicksand, we mend our soil. Because when you're tending that garden, remember, we are still tending a garden that other people planted. And only when you do the inner soil work can you actually start building the orchard and the garden that is yours. That's a reflection of your value. So there's a lot of value with us staying beneath the soil. And so today is about noticing. It's about building that mind-body connection, taking that time out to take some deep breaths. Your homework for this week is just to be present and aware. I'm going to offer in the notes, so definitely check it out when I get off of here, is a link to our 5-minute reset. Emma has done a beautiful 5-minute meditation. I do a somatic therapy worksheet underneath. If you have the Substack app, just press play. It'll read it to you. Listen to it. Take that time to take deep breaths. And if you can't follow it, if your mind wanders, it's okay. It wasn't about performance. It's about being present for those 5 minutes. Just notice it, because what you'll find is if you can just press play, that attention span grows for you. And so remember that you are not failing. You're surviving. But survival is not where you're meant to live. And this series is about slowly moving amongst and being aware of our beneath the soil living, from the tar pit to the bedrock, to the quicksand, to tending our garden, from soil to surface, not because it's hierarchical, but because it's important for us to understand and own every place we will occupy, because every place has meaning and purpose. We're not doing this through force. There's no perfection or performance here. I'm offering you a space to be present with yourself. And through awareness, regulation, and small, consistent leadership steps, we will grow and build lasting change together. So take time between now and next Tuesday to find awareness, to press play on those 5-minute resets. Just notice where survival is showing up. Don't fix it. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just notice it. Notice how your body is trying to communicate with you. You have a great article on kind of 6 ways your body is trying to tell you you're not failing. You're trying to survive. And it's great ways to just notice what your body is trying to tell you. And let's take this time to ground, to find our sense of presence. One big deep breath in, and one slow exhale out. Slow down, reset, and I'll see you next Tuesday.